Studio B in Riverside, Illinois, it's RBTV's very own The Late Hour with Vejas Cuplinskas. Tonight's guests are Zachery Lommatzsch, William Frey, and Patty Young.
Hello, I'm Vejas Cuplinskas, and welcome to The Late Hour. On this episode, we will be joined by Zachery Lommatzsch, William Frey, and Patty Young. Here we have Mr. Lommatzsch. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine. Thank you for asking. Right. So let's just jump right into it. Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about your high school experiences and what high school was like?
So I went to Downers Grove North. I grew up in Downers Grove, so locally in the area throughout my entire life. I lived there. I graduated in 2011, so not too long ago. Mm-hmm. Overall, I thought high school was a pretty great experience for me. I had a lot of teachers and coaches that kind of helped shape me into the person who I am today, so kind of drove my career choice as an educator, and I want to kind of give back since I had a positive experience. So overall, I have nothing but positive things to say.
Did you play any sports there?
Yes, so I was involved with wrestling there and football. So between wrestling and football, it took up most of my time.
That's pretty nice. So from high school, you moved up to college, obviously, and so.
Yeah, so I went to Illinois State University, and I graduated in December of 2015. So after that, I had a short long-term sub at Mattia Valley High School, and then after that, I started my first year during the 16-17 school year at RB, and been here during my second year. So Illinois State was a great experience. I went there. They had a great, reputable education program. So I went in and got a degree in special education. They had, again, nothing but positive things to say about my time there. I lived in the dorms for the first 2 years and then moved out and got an apartment with a couple friends. And then eventually my brother ended up going there to Illinois State as well. So he's graduating this year. So our whole family's kind of been going to Illinois State.
Is he also looking forward to like the kind of jobs you have, like special education? Or?
So he's accounting. He chose a different pathway, but he's had a similar experience there. He enjoys it, and he'll be working in the city coming up once he graduates.
So why did you choose RB as the place to teach special ed and work with special ed?
So I like this area. I've always wanted to be somewhat closer to the city, and the population of students here is what I was kind of looking for. So I had originally was looking at schools in Wheaton, and I was coaching an off-season wrestling tournament, and I ran into Miss Wendy Cassins. One of her sons was part of the wrestling program, and we got to talking, and she talked about how there was an opening at Riverside Brookfield, so one thing kind of fell into another, and that's how I ended up applying for this position and ultimately teaching here. So.
And you teach sports here too, right?
Yes, so I'm the sophomore football coach. Last year I was the freshman, and then I am the assistant varsity wrestling coach. So I get to teach as well as do something I love, which is coach wrestling and football.
Is it a different perspective to be the coach instead of the one playing?
It is. You get to learn a lot more, I think, and it's fun to me to kind of encourage kids and show them not only how to play the sport, but what values the sports teach them, and what I got from the sports, just from your determination and perseverance and living a active, healthy lifestyle are the key things I got from wrestling and football. So I like to be able to teach kids those core values.
So, coaching football, have you ever gone to? Has the team ever gone to state or?
We haven't gone to state, so last year I was the freshman coach. Your schedule's a little sporadic. You can play on Saturday mornings typically, and we'll have a Monday night game here or there. So I love that, and then I got moved up to sophomore, which was kind of cool. So I got to follow my freshman an additional year and be their sophomore football coach, and it's a little more structured compared to the freshman one. So we'd play every Friday night before the varsity team. We had a pretty good season this year, so I was very proud of all the guys and the hard work that they put in. Compared to my experience at Downers Grove North, it's a bigger school, so I'm used to coming from a team with maybe 90 to 100 kids. And then, so we had about 20, 22, 23 hardworking guys, but it worked out for the best, and they came prepared every single day. So I'm looking forward to doing another season.
Also for wrestling, has anything happened there? Has anyone moved up?
So last year we had 5 state qualifiers.
Oh wow,
yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, it was a really productive season last year. So last year we were at the 2A, so wrestling is split up into 3 divisions, 1A, 2A, 3A. This year we're moving up to the 3A level, which is a little more competition, so I'm looking forward to it. And again, we have a ton of underclassmen that came in. It's about 25 to 30 freshmen that came out, so we got a younger team, lots of room to improve, but overall it's been a positive experience.
So is there any advice to the students here at RB that you would like to tell them?
I would definitely recommend just going out and seeing their counselor, figuring out what path they want to take after high school. It's never too early to start deciding that. And then just that it's okay if college is not your career, or I'm sorry, if college is not your pathway that you want to take. There's plenty of other careers that you can take besides going to college. So just reaching out to your counselor and kind of getting some perspective and insight from them. They have a lot to offer and a lot of great services, like the Naviance program can kind of help you decide which way you want to go. But ultimately it comes down to hard work, and what you're willing to put in is what you're going to get out of it.
Well, thank you for joining me today. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be back with William Frey, the athletic trainer at RBHS, after these messages.
All right.
Hello, I'm Vejas Cuplinskas, your host, and welcome back to the Late Hour. Now we are joined by our very special guest, Mr. William Frey. So you're an athletic trainer and a health teacher at RB. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
All right. An athletic trainer is an allied healthcare professional. Basically what I do is I'm in the prevention, rehabilitation, and immediate care of athletic injuries. So basically any athlete at RB, when they get hurt, they see me. So I'm actually the one guy in the building you don't want to see. But sadly, as you know, being an athlete yourself, that things happen and you wind up in my training room. And we take care of you and try to get you back on the court or the field as quickly and safely as possible.
Are there any crazy stories about any insane injuries?
I have lots of crazy stories. But what it comes down to really is some of the funny things that can happen is just kids getting hurt in really weird ways. Like I had one guy who literally pulled the skin off his finger when he was a pole vaulter, got his brand new class ring.
Oh.
Got his hand stuck up on the standard and ripped everything clean off.
So it was just the muscle?
It rolled just clean up. Yep, just took the skin and whoop.
Oh my God.
This is why you don't wear jewelry.
This
is why we have those rules.
I was always confused about why you can't wear necklaces or rings during matches, and
yep,
that's an excellent example.
It's rare, but it happens. We had a kid once run into a volleyball standard. Practice didn't have the pads on, and that's a 2-inch steel pole. Oh. Steel pole wins every time.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Exactly. So you take care of them.
Have there ever been any near-death experiences with athletes there?
Unfortunately, with athletes, no.
Okay,
but
that's good. That's good.
Yeah. But 3 years ago, during a sectional match between Hinsdale Central and LT, one of the grandparents of the setter at LT collapsed and had a heart attack. Luckily, we were able to bring him back.
Really?
Yes, this is why AEDs are so important. Your sister was there; she played a critical role in that, and we had a great positive outcome on that. That's one of the reasons why I'm here. This is why every high school needs an athletic trainer. We had a case just on Saturday at the South Carolina State game. Player collapsed, had a heart attack during a basketball game. The athletic trainer and the EMT successfully revived him. So it's extreme, but this is why we're here. This is what we're trained to do.
Wow. Well, we're very lucky to have you. That's really obvious. Why did you choose RB? You could have gone almost anywhere.
Well, I was the head trainer at LT.
LT.
And I live in the district here, and my daughters were coming of age, and I had to make a choice. Both of them were athletes, And with the type of job that I do, I had to decide, do I want to spend my time watching other kids play, or would I like to see my own kids play? And I happen to have been friends with the principal who was here at the time, and he and I were talking. I said, if you ever have an opening, let me know. And he had an opening. I interviewed, and I got the job, and I was able to watch both my daughters play. My oldest was a 12-season athlete here. My youngest was a 10-season athlete. So being able to do my job as well as watch my kids play was awesome. It was a great experience. And I'm now in my 10th year here.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. That's really long. And did you also always be a health teacher? Were you always a health teacher here? Or?
PE and health, yeah.
PE and health.
But mostly now I teach health. I do have a section of sports medicine that I teach, but predominantly now I'm all into the classroom. That's the tie.
So what's your experience as an endurance athlete?
To keep myself sane, I love triathlons and marathons. I've done one Ironman, a full one, which is a 2.4-mile swim, followed by a 112-mile bike, then a 26-mile run.
What?
Yeah, and we do those for fun. Yeah, this is how I, as an adult, challenge my body and challenge my mind. That actually relieves stress.
When was that?
I did my last one in 2001.
That's not that long ago.
No, I've done one full, 4 halves, and I don't know, 60 or 70 other ones. I've done 13 marathons, and then gobs and gobs of smaller races. I'm competitive. I was a soccer player in college, and I've always had that competitive buzz about me.
Have you ever been unable to complete the Ironman or something?
Luckily, every time I've stepped on that start line, I've finished a race.
Wow.
Now, have there been times where I've been hurt and couldn't start the race? Yes. But every time that gun's gone off, I've crossed the line.
So you just don't give up?
Never.
Wow.
Never give up.
Wow. So what is it, and what do you do as an athletic trainer? Like, what is it, the environment like in the athletic office?
A lot of times it starts off with a good conversation with the coach, with our, what are they doing in terms of conditioning their athletes beforehand? What type of warm-ups are they doing? Because in a best case scenario, if we can prevent them from getting hurt, that makes my life a lot easier. So we make sure that the conditioning programs are correct. Then once that's said, we go into practice and game mode. And being an athlete yourself, things happen on a court. You come down off a block and you roll your ankle on your partner's foot. It happens. So we take care of those acute types of injuries. And then the next phase is, once you're hurt, my job is to get you back as quickly and as safely as possible. In football, for example, at the professional level, there's 16 games in 17 weeks. So I've got a fair amount of time. In high school, it's a 9-week season. That's it. I've got to get you back on that field as quickly as possible. So I use every tool and trick that I have, in 30 years of experience, to get that athlete back as quickly and as safely as possible. Because you've trained, your entire career to do that sport. And I don't want to see you on the sidelines. I want to see you back on. That's what gives me my satisfaction, is to watch that kid get back playing, doing what they love to do.
Well, thank you for being on the show today. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with a new guest, Miss Patty Young, a geometry teacher and a math teacher at RB. Hello and welcome back to the Late Hour. I'm your host, Vejas Cuplinskas, and now we're being joined by Miss Patty Young, a math teacher at RB. So how are you doing today?
Great, thanks for having me.
Well, that's really good. I'm doing really well too.
Oh, good.
So you teach math at RB. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. So this is my 12th year at RB,
Oh, wow.
and right now I'm teaching geometry, as you know.
Yep.
I have Vejas in classes here. And then I also teach honors algebra this year, and it really varies from year to year, but I've taught everything really except statistics and calculus, so.
I have no idea what that is.
Maybe someday.
Maybe someday.
Yeah, so that's it.
You also used to coach basketball and boys volleyball.
Yes, I did, actually. So I taught for 9 years before working here at RB. I actually then stayed home with my family. I have 3 children of my own that are, actually my youngest is your age and my oldest is a sophomore in college. So during their young years, I was at home with them. But in my previous, teaching career, I'd say, I taught at a middle school in Orland Park, and I coached volleyball, boys volleyball.
Boys volleyball.
And I know, girls basketball for many years. So very much enjoyed that, but it just got a little too busy when raising a family to be coaching, with the time commitment that has.
So did you play those sports in high school?
As a matter of fact, I did. I played actually the basketball. I was a cross country, basketball and track athlete for 4 years of high school. So I remember at the end of that, my senior year, kind of wondering if I should try to pursue athletics in college. And I just kind of decided I wanted to kind of be a normal student and not have to worry about practices and games and schedules and all that stuff. So after high school, I then went on to the University of Illinois. I did do, intramural type sports and that sort of thing, but I definitely enjoy athletics, and now my children are very much into volleyball. So
very much into volleyball.
Yes, they are.
That's good.
Yes.
That's really good.
Very fun.
So did you ever try out for any sports in college, or?
I did not. I decided to hang up the basketball shoes and everything. Yeah.
You could have been a star.
You know what? You never know. The orange and the blue.
So apart from high school, you like to go for walks outside and biking and
yeah,
backpacking?
absolutely. I like to stay active. Yeah. So actually in college, when I was in college, I had done quite a few backpacking trips. And it was part of the outdoor recreation, group. And so we would do, instead of over spring break going to, Florida and doing the regular typical spring break, we would do a trip, trips to the Smoky Mountains and then the Grand Canyon. Just visiting some really neat, beautiful places. And it was great because it was all, pump the water and pack in all your food and pack out all your garbage. It was really trying to be minimally, disruptive to the environment.
Mm-hmm.
So fun, so beautiful, and it was a great time in my life to be able to do those sorts of things.
Were there any memorable trips that?
Oh yes, yes. So the Grand Canyon, I did it twice. You'd go down, you'd hike down, and typically the trail we took, we could get down there in a day, but you had to carry everything in and out. And so knowing that you had this, huge trek out, you had to try to make your pack as light as possible. And so you didn't bring tents. So we ended up sleeping outside, in the bottom of the Grand Canyon without tents. And I do remember kind of getting the sleeping bag, covering my head, just kind of fearful of the scorpions that might be lingering around. Yeah. Fortunately, I never encountered one.
Were there any mosquitoes? Or?
Not mosquitoes, but bats. Well, maybe there were mosquitoes, but they were eaten by the bats.
That's good.
But I do remember bats zooming around as it got darker, but it was wonderful. It was just a beautiful place, and I've been back with my kids, and it's really fun to be able to say, I hiked down there and then hiked back out, and so it's very.
Have you ever gone with your kids there? Or?
Yeah, so we did go, but we took the more touristy route, which was to go to the rim, look down, look at everything, and then head out. We did do some hiking in some other national parks near the Grand Canyon, in Utah. So Arches and Zion, those are some of my favorite places. So like to get back there for sure.
So you're a very outdoorsy person.
I am.
So
yes, I am.
You also worked at a summer camp. Was this an outdoor thing? Or
Great thing. Yeah. So when I was in college, actually, and also towards the end of my high school years, I worked at an all-girls camp in northern Minnesota, and I was actually an archery instructor at that camp.
Oh, wow.
So that was, I know, I kind of fell into it, but I learned a lot about archery, and more importantly, just the neat experience of, you know, getting to know the cabin, your group of girls that you're kind of mentoring, and it was kind of a nice stepping stone into like education and working with kids. Then when I was in college, I worked in Maine at a camp, and I was the outdoor trip leader, meaning the girls would take like 2 or 3 night trips off into different parts of Maine, and so we do like campouts there. So it was fun.
It's a lot more. So much to learn.
Right.
So you're very talented, like obviously in like sports and archery and teaching.
Thank you.
Outdoors.
Thank you, Vejas.
So you also worked at the Day of Service or something?
Sure, yeah. So let me tell you a little bit about the Day of Service. So here at RB, the PTO sponsors the Day of Service every year. And I act as the teacher liaison, or I have for the last several years. And basically it's an opportunity for kids to get involved, to make a difference in their communities. And there are different service projects that students can sign up to do. It's one day in April, usually at the end of the month. And so this year, the actual date I don't have exactly, but it's about the last weekend in April. And anyhow, so I'm hoping that students will consider signing up to not only participate, but maybe get actively involved in being a leader on the Day of Service committee. So something to think about, Vejas. I'd love to see you out there this year.
Well, maybe.
Okay.
Well, I would like to thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere. I had an opportunity to go down to the lunchroom and interview some bright students on some very odd questions. So don't go anywhere. We'll see that after this break.
Okay, Zach, if I gave you $1 million, would you take it, but every time you sneezed, your gender would change?
Definitely not.
I would not take that.
Of course. Why?
Money.
Wow. Gold digger. Where do you see yourself in 20 years?
I'll probably have a job.
I see myself dead and everyone dead because of World War III that will start soon.
Hopefully dead.
Probably doing nothing productive.
Wow. All right, DeGettios, riddle me this. When did New Year's and Christmas fall in the same year?
Never.
Every year.
December 4th.
No, it's every year, Paul. It's every year. Okay, Amelia, read what you see.
Paris in the spring. Oh wait, no, Paris in the spring.
Yeah.
I got it.
Okay, Amelia, what do you see in this picture?
I see Snow White's figure and a person with a pipe.
Correctamundo!
Well, thank you for watching That Man on the Street. I hope you enjoyed it, and I want to thank all of you for watching this edition of The Late Hour. I want to also thank all of my guests for coming on the show today. And I am your host, Vejas Cuplinskas, and continue to watch for new episodes of The Late Hour in the future. Thank you for watching.